you understood what we did Thursday and Friday, today you will be in good shape. So our last day of 6.4 today is graphing cubic functions, which is still a radical. It's just got a 3 in it, okay? So the parent function, TF, remember, is parent function, has a cube root instead of a square root, okay? Now, the transformation form, which is like how we move around, is exactly the same. I didn't give myself much room. Is exactly the same as the other one, except with the cube root. Let me write it over here so I have some room. So y equals the cube root of x minus h plus k. And I should have put an a value there, so let's write it a second time, unless you can squeeze it in. A times the cube root of x minus h plus k. So the same exact formula as last week, except the only difference you see is a 3 there instead of a 2, okay? And if you remember with the square root, we first came up with the basic x, y's, the basic 3 points to use. And we picked smart numbers. So when we graph like polynomials like lines, parabolas, we use from -2 to 2. For the square root, we use 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2. Let's pick 3 good values for the cube root. So I can put a 0 under there. The cube root of 0 is just 0. So that's a great one to start with for our parent function. What's a good second number?
1.
1. The cube root of 1 is 1. So far it's just like the square root one, 0, 0, 1, 1. Now remember, with the square root, we did 4 next. And I can do the cube root of 4, but I get a decimal. Same with the cube root of 5, the cube root of 6. What's the first, the next number after 1 that we come to that's a nice, friendly number there?
4.
Not 4, not 3.
2.
8. The cube root of 8 is 2. Thanks, Mandy. If you go to math 4, that's your cube root. So if I do put a 4 under there, it's not wrong. Okay, that's not a wrong number to use, but I don't want to graph that. What I'd rather graph is something easier to graph. So with the square root, we use 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2. Now we use 0, 0, 1, 1, 8, 2. But guess what? In addition to having positives under a cube root, we're allowed to have negatives. So we're also going to do 2 more x, y values, and that's -1 and -8. And guess what else? What you get? You get a negative number. Same value, but -1, -2. And I'm going to show you this on a graph. Super, super easy. Watch. If I do the math number 4, the cube root of a negative number, if I'm not allowed to do it, my calculator won't let me. Like if I try to do that with a square root, it gives me an error. But under a cube root, we're allowed to. You can have negatives under an odd number root. So that's why we're allowed to use those. So whenever we graph the parent function, it's going to be those, yucky notes, same 5 points. And I'll show you. It's really, really, really simple. Okay? So we're going to do the same exact steps as we did before. Let me break down those variables again for you. Let me write it again here because I didn't give myself much room. If you remember, on Thursday, on Friday, we learned all of this. A is your stretch or shrink, right? We multiply all the y values by that number. H is left or right, and K is up or down. Don't forget, left or right is always opposite, meaning a positive H goes to the left. That's a positive H. Sorry, it looks like TH. And a negative H goes to the right. So I'm going to remind you of all of this stuff in our very first graph right here. I'm not even going to write out the steps because it's the same thing we did last week, just different points. So I'm going to start out by doing the parent function, just up to there. I'm going to use x's. I'm not going to connect them. Okay. So just sketch it for now. Your homework will have graphs on it. 0, 0, 1, 1, 8, 2. So it kind of looks like that other graph, but remember we can have negatives as well. So we're going to have negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, negative 2. So it kind of looks like a, yeah. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 8, 2. I don't know why I'm so distracted. I just totally went against everything I tell you to do. I tell you not to connect those. I keep making mistakes today. I'm so sorry. I'm teaching something called the unit circle in my pre-calc classes, and it's kind of hard. Don't listen, Katie. Katie's in my pre-calc class. She's making up a quiz. And it's kind of hard, so my brain is fried. Okay, so 0, 0, 1, 1, 8, 2, and then negative 1, negative 1, negative 8, negative 2. That's the parent function. That's not the final answer. I shouldn't have connected it. I mean, it's not wrong to. It just gets, a lot going on in the graph. But if we have numbers here, we have to now move them. What does plus 1 do to our graph? It moves us what direction? What does this move us?
Up. Right.
You got to know that, remember. And then this would be what? Right, Orgus? Guys, don't forget what you already know. I'm telling you, I am not on my game today. It is left. Way to confuse you. I'm so sorry. I'm probably confusing you guys like crazy. So plus 1 means to the left. Okay, sorry, opposite. Thank you, ladies. And minus 4 is down 4. So all we do, just like we did last week, is we take each of our x's and move each of them. We just count. Left 1, down 4. Left 1, down 4. We just have to do it to more points. So left 1, down 4. Double checking my counting. Apparently I'm not able to count today. Left 1, down 4. Left 1, down 4. It's going to make the same shape, right? It's just moved it. So red was my parent function, and then the purple is my final graph. See why I don't want you to connect them? So I'll do the next one right, correct. Okay. I'll try. Okay. Let's do another one, and I won't mess this one up. Okay. So let's pretend this is our first one. Okay, we start with the parent function, which is just up to here. That's those starting points that we talked about on the other page. So if you needed to write them out, you could, but you don't have to. Okay. So we're going to make x's and not connect them. So we always start at 0, 0, 1, 1, and instead of 4, 2, we do 8, 2. And then the same thing on the other side. Left 1, down 1. Left 8, down 2. So you can see the outline, don't connect it, the outline of the parent function. Now, what way are we going to move all our points? What is the minus 2? JT, what is minus 2 going to do?
Minus 2 is down.
Nope, it would be if it was over here. But if you're under the radical, somebody help. So we're going to have to practice that. Right 2, and then this would be up 1. Okay? So to finish the graph, we just count. Right 2, up 1 for all the points. And you can see now that we have more points on our graph, it's nice to use x's for the original ones. So it's very clear, even if you're not using two colors like I am, it's really clear what points to connect. Not the x's, the other ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So you use X's for the first points, point dots or whatever for the second points. It's a smart thing to do. Okay. So let's take that same exact function. Let's put a value in front, an A value. This was day 2, what we learned on Friday. So if you weren't here Friday and you haven't had a chance to watch the video, this is what your classmates learned. So B and C are identical, except we have an A value. Okay? We're still going to start out by graphing up to the X, but we are going to, in this case, write out the XY chart. Okay? So in our XY chart for this, we're not just using 0, 0, 1, 1, or 2. We're using -8, -1, 0, 1, and 8. Those are the points that we're graphing. And it doesn't matter what order you put them in, really. Okay? All right, those are the points we've been graphing for our X's. But anytime there's an A value, we have to multiply the Y values by that A value and get a new Y value. So I'm going to multiply each of these by whatever number is in front. It's going to stretch our graph vertically by 2. Remember we talked about if you stretch something vertically, it makes the Y value go up or down. Okay? And we get -4, -1, 0, 2, 4. So when do you have to actually write the whole XY chart out? Anytime there's a value in front. Nope, so that's a -2, right? Jeez. Ugh. You would hope that your math teacher knows how to do 1 times 2. You would hope. Okay, so let's graph it. So you can tell these are longer, because you have to use some of the negative and positive Y values. So you're just sketching right now. I'll give you graph paper in a second. So I'm going to start graphing these points. This is my new parent function. Okay, so -8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, -4. These are parent functions, not my final graph, so I'm not connecting them. -1, -2, 0, 0, 1, 2, 8, 4. So we went ahead, took our -8 to 8 points and stretched them and put those on the graph as our new parent function or starting point. Then we'll move all the points according to H and K. So same problem we just did. This is right 2, up 1. So I'm just going to go through the right 2, up 1 with each of these points. And even though there's a lot going on in that graph, I know to just connect the points that are dots. Now, does that mean I can't touch the other ones? No. It looks like I kind of go through this one. That's okay. It's in our path. Can't help that. It's okay. All right? We get it? Let me give you the worksheet, and then I'll do some with you, okay? Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so guys, listen. Look at the differences in the problems. Really? Anybody else get blank? Okay. Okay, so look, they're all cube roots, and there's only 2 on here where you have to make a fancy XY chart because they have that number in front, okay? If they don't have that number in front, your starting points, and I'll write them out for you again right here, the starting points, I'll make it like this. We go from -8 to 8, right? Those are the X values we use. Okay, that is this for all the graphs that don't have a number in front. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 5, sorry, we use those points. On 4 and 6, you have to add that extra column to multiply by the 2 or the 3. Okay, so start with those. These are X's. Now remember, if the number is under the radical, it's left or right. If it's all the way to the right, it doesn't have the roof over its head, it's letting it go up or down. Think of it like that. It doesn't have a roof stopping it. That +5 is up or down. So this would be up 5. So you literally just go up 5 every point. What, Shane? I want to see the parent function. Yeah, I will want to see it. Just the way I've been modeling it for you is how I do it. So here's 1 through 4. If I messed you up on any of that, let me know. I'll come explain it better. No, I didn't do a good job at the beginning. I apologize.